Suddenly, my childhood was on the big screen. I don't recall meeting Cameron Crowe, but wow. This video looks at two things the movie got right and two that are wrong. Stay for the bonus section to share in some personal memories. The first thing the movie gets right is the atmosphere. It's the closest I'll ever come to going back in time. Generally speaking, this is what it was like in San Diego in the early 70s. A lot of it takes place here at the San Diego Sports Arena, which still stands under a sponsor's name. The only thing missing was Manny, the man you would see if you were going in with press credentials. The second thing the movie got right was the older sister, Anita Miller. She was drawn perfectly. I saw many older girls and younger women like her through the mid-70s. They were nice, but suddenly running out of time. They had an urgent need to be somewhere else. Even the older adults didn't know where they were going. After that, I never saw this type in real life, nor in works of art, until Almost Famous came out. So far, she's the last one. Now, we move on to things that the movie got wrong. Not all of the women were drawn perfectly. The groupies were 18 going on 35 in a bad way. They were tired, desperate, and filthy. They also had substance problems. Most of them did not ride the bus with the band. They had to find their own way. The road wears you out, more so if you don't have a budget. Their cleanliness and control over their own destiny in the movie is a fantasy. Their clothes were exactly what I remember, but they were never clean. Those collars attracted dirt, which is why they were in style for a very short time. The same material is found today on cleaning equipment. Keeping the jacket clean for an entire film shoot was an achievement, but it made for a less believable story. The bands were similarly worn out, but not as filthy. The backstage area was also dusty and covered in junk. The second thing wrong with the movie is the audio quality. It never sounded that good. In fact, it was incredibly bad. Back then, there was no such thing as a sound system. Every musical voice was plugged into a separate amp or PA. Sound checks involved someone saying, "Check, check, check," while someone else wandered around the arena signaling to move the speaker or turn it up or down. I always thought that if they couldn't think of anything to say, they should read poetry. As time went on, there was a soundboard in the middle of the arena, and one person could create a coherent mix. Even then, the only thing close to good sound was the middle of the arena. Too close and you heard one instrument over the others. Too far away and the sound was mush. The arena itself was not designed for audio, and depending on where you were, you might get echoes or washed out sound. Today, Marshall stacks are often false fronts for the show. Musicians usually plug into the venue's back line, even at unpaid gigs like open mic nights. You've made it to the bonus section. At the time, going to concerts was a surprise. We'd moved to San Diego for my dad's job. He got reassigned and was covering music. He was often out until the early morning hours. Mom didn't want us to drift apart. She decided that I should go with him to the concerts starting from the middle of elementary school, so off I went. I didn't go to all of them, far from it, but they made an impression. Chuck Berry is one of the concerts I remember best from that time. He had had a recent hit with My Ding-a-ling, and he rocked as hard as ever. Although he went on to have some issues, it needs to be said that he was nice to a child when he didn't need to be, in a place where children usually didn't go. Meeting him backstage was great. I also remember the Beach Boys. I saw Brian's comeback to live performing. The others sang and danced around while he played the bass and stood in a way that made John Entwistle look like Pete Townsend. The band was still evolving and experimenting. They were Southern California's version of the Grateful Dead. They still sang their hits, but they weren't the nostalgia act that they became in the 80s. Of the three famous people in the movie, I can only recall seeing one of them. It's unlikely that I ever met Cameron Crowe or Lester Bangs, but I can't rule it out. It's likely that my dad would have run into them a few times. The one I remember for sure was the DJ, Gabriel Wisdom, gender flipped in the movie as Alice. By the 1990s, Wisdom had completed his move into the financial world, and he was often present at business related conferences. He still had a great voice, and someone in the audience would point out in hushed tones that he used to be on the radio, and others would nod in agreement. Have you seen a movie that was an unintended personal story? Was it this one? Let us know in the comments.